This podcast is powered by The Plug.
I'm your host, Chardonnay, aka Coco Madame, and I'm so excited to be here. What's up, everyone, and welcome to Hustle Bunny. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Hustle Bunny. I'm your host, Coco, and in studio today, we have the lovely Goddess Fina. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for asking. I'm doing a lot better now that I'm here.
Awesome. That's what we like to hear. Yeah. So, Fina, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Always. You're always such a pleasure. You know what's like crazy is that we've made like a circle of life. Like I met you when I lived in North Carolina.
Exactly. It's funny how things turn out that way. Just, again, networking connections. Just like you never know who you're going to meet.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy because you met me when I was like hanging out with my friend Kira. We'd be like sitting in like the, what is that called? The server's corner.
Yeah.
Talking about how we were like sick of this. And I was like, I think me and Kira were like, we're going to go start being dancers. And you were like, yeah, like that sounds like fun.
I was so intrigued by you and Ashley and Kira and everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, like these chicks know what they're doing, dude.
Yeah, we just like dipped out. I don't think Ashley ever made it, but me and Kira were like, we're out. Well, she still stayed, but I still, I was like, I'm good. This money is way too good for me to be busting my ass like I have been over the years.
I completely agree, yeah.
But it's like awesome that you're here now. You just, I like that. I love that. It's like awesome. I don't know. I just thought that was super cool that you ended up out here doing like similar work.
That's what I'm saying. It's always just interesting about who you ultimately meet like in your everyday life. And then like you don't know about people's, not double life, but you just don't know about people's hobbies and like what they're curious,
what they're into. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I always like to start off the show with 3 icebreaker questions, which are kind of random and off the top of my head, which is like the worst part about it.
I was going to say, I love it. Let's get it. I'm ADHD as hell, so I love the random.
Okay, perfect. I love that you love it. Let's see here. We'll start with the obvious. Where are you from?
So I am from Buffalo, New York, 716 representing,
Okay, very nice, very nice. How long were you in Buffalo before you moved to North Carolina?
I spent my adolescence in Buffalo, and then my parents ultimately got jobs. They got job offers down in North Carolina. So they ended up moving down to North Carolina on not necessarily a whim, but they were just like, yeah, same thing. We need to get out of New York. Like, we just want a different change of scenery. Mm-hmm. And they just wanted to go ahead and explore their lives together as newly, like, husband and wife type thing. And they had known people that moved down to North Carolina.
So that's nice. So
and they're like, they like it. Okay, we're going to go follow our friends down there. So it's just same thing, like word of mouth. And they just followed their friends down to North Carolina, job opportunities, and just things just seemed to be just open for them down in North Carolina. So they followed their things.
Yeah, that's very awesome. Very awesome. Do you ever have plan on going back to New York or like living there again? Or are you just kind of over the scene?
All due respect, I love my home state, but no, I'm not going.
No, you're not doing it anymore.
I just, it's too familiar. It's too familiar of a stomping ground, And it's just like, I've been there, I've done that. I love my family, I love my cousins, I love everyone again who still lives there and still. Wants to have a life there. But for me, I just never felt that. I've always wanted to just explore and spread my wings. I just felt there was just more out there.
No, I feel that. I felt that when I came back to Denver. I was like, oh man, I'm so ready to go again. I was like, I need a new adventure. I don't know where I'm going to go, but I'll find something. Exactly. Hopefully. Like it feels good when you come back and visit.
Oh yeah.
You appreciate it more when you're gone, but then you come back.
I was literally
like, oh, I love this. I miss this. It's easy. I can breathe. But now Denver's so oversaturated. It's not what it used to be when I was like a kid growing up, you know? So it's very different. Let's see. That was my first question. Okay. Second question. Decisions. You know what? Who's your favorite porn star?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think clichely, I'm going to have to shout out my girls, Nina North and Alex Gray.
Okay.
Just simply because, on a personal level, like, those are my girls. Like,
you know what? When you get that personal experience, you are like, you know what I mean? You're like, I actually get to see them. Yeah. I actually get to be around them. And if I'm lucky, I might get to hook up with them.
I mean, I don't know if I'm ever going to be lucky enough to do that, but I know that I really, really appreciate the fact that they were just like, we're just doing the damn thing.
No, I feel you.
Know what I'm saying?
I feel you. You know what? I watch too much amateur porn for me to have a good, like, porn star fan. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know who these girls are, and they definitely haven't done more than, like, 1 or 3 videos. 1 to 3 videos, I should say.
Absolutely.
Let's see here. Last question. Oh, man. I had one, and it kind of just disappeared in my brain.
That's what happens when you live in Colorado for too long.
I know, right? Everything just kind of fizzles out, right? Between the weed and the shrooms, no one knows what's really going on out here.
Exactly. Well, somebody's always twisted.
Well, okay, that makes for, like, a good question. Are you a smoker or a drinker?
So, I mean...
And I mean smoker by, like, weed smoker. Everyone in Colorado knows that, right? Stoners know that question, but, like, people don't. Everyone's like, you some, like, cigarettes? And it's like, no.
I feel like the East Coasters, that's when it's just like, what do you mean? What do I smoke?
Yeah. Girl. We got all kinds of tasty things out here on the East Coast.
Right. Before moving out here, I can definitely say that I was more of a drinker. Mm-hmm. But living out here, I've of course gravitated more towards smoking, and it's just, in my opinion, more obviously of a healthier lifestyle.
It is.
I can have more just a grasp on things. I know that seems very like counterintuitive because if you're getting stoned, like it is what it is.
Yes, but I know. But then you got like levels, so you like indica, sativa, hybrids, you know, all those different things. It's like going to a candy store, right?
Exactly.
And you get what you want. Well, now that we know a little bit about you,
that's right.
We got to know more.
All right.
You know, goddess.
We're going to dive into the nitty gritty.
Yeah, so you do fet work.
I do.
And for those of you that don't know, fet work is fetish work, and fetish work can go down a rabbit hole of things, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know?
That could be an understatement. Yeah.
Yes. So kind of explain to our listeners, what kind of fet work do you do?
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you or your company are looking to jump into the podcast world, now is the time. The Plug Agency is here to connect you to the full power of podcasting. You just record and leave the rest to us. The people are listening and want to hear from you. theplug-agency.com. That's theplug-agency.com. Click the link in the episode description for an exclusive offer.
911?
What's your emergency?
Yeah, somebody's just broke into my house.
Okay, we'll get a unit over shortly.
Okay, please hurry.
Real quick, can you verify your race for us?
I'm black. No, I'm sorry, I'm white. I'm full white.
Okay, can you answer a few questions just to confirm?
Okay.
Okay, how do you feel about Black Lives Matter?
All lives matter.
Nice. Did OJ do it?
Yeah, he did it.
Okay, who's the best boxer in the United States?
Jake Paul.
King of R&B.
Justin Bieber.
Okay, last question. Say ask.
X. Oh, fuck. No, hey!
So the kind of fet work specifically that I do is it's a plethora of just different services and sexual kinks that I've been exploring. But one of the first kinks that I really started, diving my foot in, or my toe, so to speak, literally, was foot fetishism. So the funny thing about how I actually got involved, it's actually kind of a crazy story.
Well, let us know. I love crazy.
I do. I was like, I got to prepare a good story if I'm coming up here.
Yes.
And I know a lot of other foot fetish models, like they'll say like, oh, just one day I wanted to do it, or one day I just, I was curious about it. My story is just kind of out of left field, but it ultimately ended up helping me be a well-rounded kink model in general. So when I had first moved out to Colorado, again, like you maybe have felt this when you moved out here, but I didn't know anybody. I was out here on a whim. I had moved out here, just broken up with my partner who I was with. I was really just trying to explore the city, but without, biting off, like you said, more than I could chew. I wanted to explore new friendships, new relationships, dynamics. So clichély, what did I do? I joined a dating website as soon as I moved out here.
Yes.
I did the dating profile thing, and then one guy, hit me up out of the blue one day and was like, hey, would you ever want to go grab lunch sometime? I was like, yeah, that sounds great. You seem like a normal guy. We chit-chatted back and forth for like a couple hours, and then he's like, I know this great place over this burger bar in Belmar, so that's where we did, and that's where we went to go meet. I ended up driving over there myself. I'm a smart.
Yeah, right. You're doing the smart bitch things. Yes.
Drove my own car. I let my friends know, hey, I'm meeting up with this guy for the first time. We're meeting up here. Just in case. Again, I took standard precautions.
Right.
Smart, safe lady.
Exactly.
And then I get there, and then I meet him in front of the burger bar, and he's like, okay, listen, before we go into the restaurant, like, I just want to tell you something. And of course, my mind is racing a mile a minute. I mean, I'm not Miss Paranoid, but I'm like bracing myself for the worst. I'm like, oh, is he married? Does he have like a third testicle? Like, what
like, what am I getting myself into?
What am I getting myself into? Like, what's going on? And he's like, no, like, I have a confession to make to you. The reason why I was ultimately attracted to you because I saw your profile pictures, and in all of your profile pictures, you're wearing sandals. And I was like, okay. And he's like, no, like, I have a big foot fetish, specifically sandals, like any type barefoot sandal, like, you know, like thongs, like these type of sandals, like, I was just like, okay, that's interesting, that's cool, like, that's it, that's nothing else. So that was like his big secret that he can like let people like let you know. Exactly. And he felt comfortable telling you. Super duper comfortable. As soon as I was like, oh, dude, that's fine, that's great, that's awesome. And then I was like, so what does that mean? Like, what exactly, like, do you not want to go grab a burger? Like, so
am I not going to get my free meal tonight?
So what are we doing here? And he was just like, no, like, I want to continue having the date. But he was just like, would you ever feel comfortable with me worshiping your feet in public? And I was like, I never had even had a chance or an opportunity to wrap my brain around this. Like, no one has ever asked me. It's not that, again, I've always been, you know, attracted to feet. It's just not something that's always been in
like
the
first thing to go. Right.
Exactly. So, I was like, okay, yeah, if I start to get more comfortable with you, if I start to warm up with you, you know, I don't see why not. He was like, I will definitely compensate you for your time. If you allow me to worship your feet, I will pay you $200 for the hour. And I was like, are you serious? I was like, this is a hoax.
Yeah, you're like, I'm going to end up in a ditch somewhere, sir. And my feet are going to be in a mantle in your house.
Swear to God, low-key, high-key. But like, yeah, I was like, okay. I was like, we got the phone numbers there. We're good. Friends know where I'm at. Like,
yes, exactly.
So we continued having the date, continued getting to know him. And again, he's like a software designer who lives in downtown Denver. Really nice guy, but it's always just been like, he's just had this proclivity towards feet since he was like 5 years old. And me being like the very scientific, curious cat that I am, precocious person, I'm like, please tell me more about your fetish. I am so curious.
Yeah, let me know.
Let me know. Like, I'm so utterly fascinated with this man who's not attracted to me for my body, my hair, my face, but my feet. That's what he saw, and like, that's what he was allured by. So again, me being curious, I started asking him questions. Like, please tell me about like your history. Like, tell me where to start. And he's going in and telling me all these very prolific details about his encounters from the time he was like 5 years old up until the time that he's like in his mid-30s.
Yeah.
So he's not one who is shy around his fetishisms. Like,
you know what? That's really good though.
Yes.
You know, like some people, like there's like some things where, you know, you don't really want to showcase, right? Like some people's fetishes, like, you know, since I've started webcamming like many girls during quarantine, right? You run into like a lot of fet work, and webcamming is more fet work than not.
Oh, I would say more so.
And I feel like, you know, like the guys, they get in there and it's like, you know, whatever. But, you know, things like small penis humiliation, like no one's going to walk around and say like, I got a tiny dick, right? Because you know that people are like, I get turned on the fact that I have a tiny dick.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? No one's going to get, right? Because society standards are going to be like, oh no, dude, like I can't like tell my friends like, hey, like this is what turns me on.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I was so like, I don't know how to describe it. I was so enthralled with this man just because, like you said, he was so confident in his kinks, and he was so I don't need to stutter.
I know. It's like, I know what you mean. Like,
open with it.
He was just like, very okay with himself. Yeah, he embraced his. And there's nothing wrong with that, because I think like there's more guys out there that have foot fetishes than not. I feel like it's like a number one common fetish that people have.
It's actually one of the oldest and most ancient fetishes that you can it's like back in the time of like Roman days, they've like discovered hieroglyphics, like everything. There's this whole wiki links.
Well, yeah, it makes sense because you remember like if you like are into fiction or nonfiction or whatever, like you said, like history back in the day, like you read these books where people are like, oh, she had 1,000 buttons on her shoes, but she unbuttoned her shoes and she showed me her ankles and it was so sexy. Yes. Or like her like leg, you know, like her feet were so, you know, so soft and just so supple. So yeah, like it is very common. Like I think that is like the oldest and most common fetish. Even if guys don't like fetish over it, like that's not like the number one thing. Yeah. Even like with working and dancing and webcamming, guys always want to see your toes. Even like when I worked at the club, guys are like, oh, can I see your toes? Like, oh my gosh, like you got pretty feet. Like that's why girls stay at the nail salon.
Exactly.
Right? They're like, oh, you got such nice feet. Like that color's so pretty on your toes. Yes. You know, different things like that. Now I haven't gotten into like like foot fetish yet. I do have a guy that likes to be stepped on.
Trampling. Oh, trampling's big.
Yeah, trampling is big, and they love that. So that's probably as like deep as I've got. I'm probably going to end up doing the whole 9 with the footwork, right?
I guarantee you, if you do it, you will not regret it. It's one of the most, again, at least from my standpoint, it's one of the most cathartic things. Like, not only helping them exploring their fantasies, but discovering fantasies and fetishisms that I am now like enamored with.
Right.
So again, the trampling thing, I never thought that I would physically and emotionally enjoy the fact of feeling someone underneath my feet and knowing that I have this power and control and knowing that they are giving me that. They are trusting me with that.
Yeah.
It is, it's intoxicating.
Right.
It's like once you get a taste, at least again, in my experience, once I got a taste, I was hooked on it. So my first ball busting session, it was so utterly organic and natural to me. I was a little scared. I was like, why is this coming so natural to me that I am so comfortable kicking somebody in the balls profusely with different degrees, angles, lengths? Like,
oh, let me smack that bitch.
And it's just
I had a rough week today starting that. It had to deal with a man that looked like you, so go ahead and get this work.
Exactly.
But you know what? So, okay, would you say that are you a dom?
I am technically a switch. But
Okay.
I always tell people I gravitate towards a more dominant side. I very rarely have trusted people with my submission. Mm-hmm. So for me, again, it's all about a control aspect. Okay. So I am definitely a switch, 100%. Like, I can be submissive, but only when I choose to be.
Well, that's like the best part about it.
Exactly.
Right? Do you find yourself being more submissive? Let's say if you actually, like, if you're in a relationship with like your partner, like, do you feel more comfortable being submissive to someone that you're with compared to like a client?
The funny thing is, it's actually, within the past couple years, it's changed. So I used to definitely feel that way. I used to be super comfortable with my submission within like my intimate and romantic relationships because I was like, I am a dom in my everyday life, literally in my quote unquote vanilla life.
Right.
I'm taking control of school, of my job, of doing this and this and this. I just want to come home and I don't want to make decisions. I want to just unwind. I want you to make the decisions, be my alpha here, or just be someone in that position in which you can help me.
Right.
But now, again, just maybe it's a maturity thing. Maybe just discovering more so what I need in my romantic and intimate relationship versus what I thought I needed. But now I gravitate towards the dominant side just in general because I like the control, and I like knowing that at the end of the day, my decisions, I can live with myself. I made those decisions.
You did it. You can't put the blame in someone else. You can't put all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. That sort of independence really like goes hand in hand with the domination. So once I've learned to embrace independence is when I learned to truly embrace and explore my dominant side more so than my submissive side.
Well, I love hearing that. I love hearing that. I love that. That's that women's empowerment shit, and I'm all about it.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
You know what? Because I feel like everyone always has like this, and I always mention this too in a couple of my podcasts, that a lot of people see like this sad story of women who do sex work, and it's like, oh, like poor baby, like you have to do this.
Work.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and don't get me wrong, there are women out there who are doing survival sex work. They do have to do it. They do have mouths to feed. They are single. They don't know, they can't do, if you got 3 kids that are in school during the day and you got to do this stuff, you can only work at night.
Absolutely.
You know, or you can only work in the day and do that,
make ends
meet,
Absolutely,
so there is that side to it. But then there is also like this beautiful, positive, light to it as well too, because you do find yourself in it, and then you open your mind, so your mind is way more expanded, right?
That part,
because you know what, we deal with men, right, and we think, oh my goodness, like they just want to see my face, my lips, my ass, my boobs, like they're gonna like this, and it's like it goes so much deeper
than that.
And then you kind of realize that men are as sensitive, as emotional, as insecure, has like all these different like hidden things about them that they don't want to share with people, right? And they feel comfortable, like you said. It does feel nice that when someone is comfortable to share something with you, and I've come to find that a lot of guys are comfortable, I feel, with sex workers because they feel like we're already not going to judge you anyways because of the work that we're doing.
Precisely.
So I used to, so in my chat room, I always have questions. I do Freaky Friday. And on Freaky Friday, I say, what is something that like you would never tell your wife or your girlfriend?
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Like confessions time.
Yeah, like a confessions time. Or like, what is like your fantasy that you feel like you never want? I had this man, he said he has never had a blowjob, and him and his wife have been married for like 30 plus years.
See, that's just the thing is that you hear about, like, for us as sex workers, we're like, the audacity. But for people, like, this happens a lot.
Right, you hear some of these stories, like, some guys are just like, I don't know. I had like this conversation with this man. He is a faithful, loyal customer, but he also like really loves his wife.
Absolutely.
I think he just like enjoys talking to me. So it like took me for my time for talking to me.
I have a lot of my clients who are in very dedicated,
healthy relationships, but they just have like this side to them, like either they feel like they can't open up about,
precisely, for whatever reason,
like, you know, if you feel like your wifey can't,
or it's like they want the fantasy with someone else. So it's like, with all due respect, I describe it like a dessert menu. So you know, maybe you have a sweet tooth and you love a certain type of dessert. Like, I love chocolate cake. It's my favorite dessert. Like different types of, maybe sometimes you want different types of chocolate cake. Maybe sometimes you're just not in the mood for chocolate cake.
Exactly.
You want creme brulee. You want a strawberry milkshake. I mean, and you shouldn't feel guilty or feel bad for wanting different things and wanting to explore other things. Does it diminish your love for chocolate cake? No, exactly. It actually probably makes you appreciate your love for chocolate cake when you go back to it.
Yeah, you're all, creme brulee was cool, but I still like my cake. Exactly. Yeah, no, I feel that. And like this guy, so I had to walk him through. This guy was, I don't know, he's probably in his 40s or 50s. I would say he was probably in his early 50s. And he was like, I want my wife to be on top.
Okay. Oh.
And we had some sessions of me, you know, hyping him up to tell his wife to be on top. And he was like, well, I don't know how to do it without making it sound like disrespectful or like I like seeing things or whatever. I'm like, you know what? Like, romance her up, make her feel good, and, you know, still make her feel beautiful and wanted, but like, oh,
speak to her love language.
Speak to her like love language, you know, make her feel good, whatever that is, you know, and like maybe you guys like watch a video together and you like, you know, it's like y'all's night to get dirty or whatever. Like, but oh, babe, you would look so sexy in that position that she just did. You'd be so sexy if you're on top. Like, I just love it. Like, whatever. Yeah. And he was like, oh my gosh, like I never thought about that. Like, thank you so much. Absolutely. And you know, and he did it and he was like, it worked.
Yeah.
You know, cause like all you have to do, like, I feel like guys are.
Sex therapy is a very real thing.
I am a therapist. Yes. we are all full blown therapists.
Literally, I was going to say, if you talk to a majority of sex workers who work in this industry, I guarantee you, like, the certificate doesn't define shit. Like, we are psychologists, we are therapists, we are anthropologists out here.
Exactly.
We know, like you said, we have such a proclivity towards the non-judgmental side of human interaction and fetishism and fantasy that, like you said, we create that very safe environment and space, and that's what makes certain kink models, I think, more successful than the other. It's not because, you know, maybe that they have certain notoriety or, you know, get their tits done or, you know, like certain like physical attributes. Right. I really think it's the safe subspace that you create with your potential clients or the clients that you continue to have. It's the longevity of being like, I have a client, again, who 5 years down the road is still going to be sending me tributes in the mail type situation, even though I maybe haven't.
Those are the perfect ones.
Because they understand the dynamic of you not only just like, I don't know, fulfilling a fantasy, but you're also a person as well. They've come to know you as a person.
Yeah. And they appreciate what you're offering.
Literally. They're like, I can't tell you how many times I've had clients been like, thank you so much for helping me explore my fetishism and my fantasy. You have helped me release. This is, again, a cathartic level for them, not only physically, of course, but emotionally and mentally.
Yeah, exactly. Because you know what? Also, what I've realized too, even like with dancing, when you're hanging out with these regulars and these customers and things like that, you also give them that mental space. So it's like they don't have any sort of like real attachment to you. So they don't really need to talk to you about like the stressful things. And like, I mean, they do like load off their shoulders and like tell you what's like really going on in their lives and things like that. But they feel comfortable because they know like it's not like, okay, if you're having financial problems, right? Or if you're just having like emotional problems with like dealing with things, it's like, you're not in a relationship with them. So it's not like, I'm not like your wife. So like, you know, if I'm talking to my wife, I'm gonna get stressed out.
Right.
You know, cause it's like, it's a different dynamic in the relationship. I don't know how to explain that, but.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we do a lot of work, but I'm going to take a step back here. And you said that, the guy that you met on your dating app.
Yes.
Okay, so how did you go from dating app to full blown fet? Did you try different websites, or did you go back on the dating site? And then what happened to Homeboy? Is he still your client? We need answers.
I did get a little sidetracked from that story. I do apologize.
Girl, what happened?
That's just my little scatterbrain running. But ultimately, again, trying not to make a long story too short, we ultimately had a wonderful rest of our day. I enjoyed burgers, but we ended up sitting out front. There's like a little patio area out front out in front of the restaurant rather. And he legitimately, once we finally got comfortable with each other, I was like, okay, you're more than welcome to worship. I could tell he was itching. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was antsy, and he kept staring at my feet. And I was like, you know what? Okay, go ahead. And I was just like, it's like now or never, Fina. You know what I'm saying? Like, I felt this overwhelmed, kind of like when you're riding up the top on a roller coaster. That's like tick, 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 tick. That's how I felt. And I was like, okay, let's do this. And then he started worshiping my feet. He took off my sandals. He started rubbing them very gently. And then again, in public, he started worshiping my feet, i.e. sucking my toes, literally putting my heel, my entire foot in his mouth, just like so just utterly into it. Again, just didn't have a care in the world. He was in his own headspace. Nobody else and nothing else around him or surrounding him mattered in that point in time. Yeah. And just seeing, again, the visualization of somebody being so encapsulated with a foot, or again, just fetishizing and just really embracing the fetishism. Like, he was so happy. Like, so utterly happy. And the best part about it was that cars were driving by, and then the cars would do a double take, like, like, and they would just look, and I'd be like, yep. And I, again, me embracing it instead of being like, no, I didn't pull back. I was like, yes, go harder. Yeah. When the cars went by. And I was like, oh my God, my exhibitionist side is coming out. Like, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. And
I'm like hyped up. I'm all, yes.
It was so empowering, and I haven't felt that empowered in a very, very long time. And it was just from the simplest act of having this very public foot worshiping session. I was hooked. I was absolutely and irrevocably hooked from that little moment on. And looking back on it, do I understand the etiquette of exposing certain people to your BDSM kink is kind of like poo-pooed upon in certain aspects of the community? Right. Totally respect it. I understand. I'm not out here publicly worshiping all the time. But for my first time experience, I will never, ever regret it, because it was such a rush.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like, that's like your first time, and it is an adrenaline rush, because I remember that, like, the first time, because, like, when I first started dancing, I started off as a cocktail waitress, and I'll never forget, like, the house mom was like, I'll give it a week before you start dancing. And I was like, no, whatever. Okay. And I'd be walking around with my little cocktail dress on, and then, like, the amount of guys were like, girl, when are you going to get on stage? Like, how much is it going to cost you? And I'm like, oh, no, I'm just a shot girl, whatever. You know, my tray would always sell out, but, oh man, I will never forget this. This guy, the first night that I ever danced, he was like, how much can I have to take you off the floor? I want a lap dance from you. Okay. I was like, I can't, blah, 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 blah. He slapped down $500. I was like, oh, I mean, wow. I don't know. Like, let me ask. And he was like, he like kept shelling out. He just kept putting $100 bills on the table. And I'm like, this can't be real. Do guys really pay this kind of money?
Do you feel me?
And yeah, and I ran over to the bouncer. I was like, how much? Like, he's like, all you gotta do is like have him like pay your house fee to dance. And I was like, okay, word, you gotta pay the house fee. He's like, I don't care how much. I was back there twerking like I have never twerked before. Yes. I didn't give no fucks. It was over for, I was like, no, this can't be real. Exactly. Like that, but that adrenaline rush of like seeing, and I'm not saying that every night was like that, you know, not every night is gonna be your first experience with that. Like, you know, but my first time doing that in like a situation, I remember when I was in a place I didn't know, no one knew my name, I have nothing else to fucking lose, right? And I was like, man, like that was so much fun.
You had such a positive experience with it.
Yeah, it was like, it was all positive. And like, you know, like you said, like when you don't go into the clubs and stuff like that, everyone, or just when you're not doing this kind of work, everyone has like their ideas. Like when you're younger, you're told like, this is bad, this is not good, this is forbidden.
Do you know how many one of my friends in North Carolina told me the same thing? They're like, Fina, if you start dancing, you're going to go down a rabbit hole. We will never, like, you are not going to be the same person.
Right, you're going to be, like, yeah, all of a sudden you're going to be strung out on the street with, like, problems.
Bro, they try to get me, like, with, like, the dare mentality. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't do drugs, you're going to end up like this. I was like, don't strip, you're going to end up like this. I was like, oh, God.
Yes, Exactly. And then it's like, oh no, you don't know.
Yeah.
You just like, you don't realize, number one, that a lot of sex workers, the money that we make and what they do with the money.
Yeah.
Investing.
Amen, sister.
You know what I mean? Going to school, paying, like, I know that's so cliche, but that's like paying that bitch off.
401k, baby, braces.
401k, braces, everything.
Yes.
You get this money.
Yes.
And we're out here and we invest in our community.
Yes, absolutely.
We out here giving back. We're super non-judgmental, but you guys just see it as like, because it says sex in the front of it, it's like, oh my God, like you are the worst person. I cannot even be around you. I can't look at you. You are just like, I'm like, okay, honey, sex is the oldest form of work in the book.
You're the reason why, exactly. You are probably the reason why we're still in work to this day.
Right.
So
your husband probably saw me last week.
Exactly.
So if you want to have an attitude about it, we can get real technical.
We can get real technical about it.
Okay, we can get real angry about it, but we're not going to.
Your husband wasn't the one who wanted the CEI session the other day?
Yeah, no. And for those of you who don't know what CEI is, it's come eating instruction.
Yeah.
So a guy wants you to tell them how to eat their nut.
Yeah.
And most of these men tend to have the money to pay.
Amen, sister.
So it's not like these are just like some regular dudes off the street who just have like, cause they know, cause like they probably do, but like there's a certain level to guys that can only pay, right? They could pay.
It's your bosses, it's your managers, it's your fathers. I'm sorry, ladies, it is. It's your fathers. Like, it's your stepdads. Like, it's your brothers. Like, it's your neighbor. Like,
it's your sons in their basement. Like, if you walk in their room, I bet you they're watching some shit. That's why their door is closed.
And I've talked about this actually with actually one model in particular. She's like, when my son finally starts to develop, or like, you know what I'm saying, like exploring his sexuality, she's like, I have always been, fully transparent with what I do, what I do for work. And if he ever asks questions for me, she's like, I'm always transparent with it.
Yeah.
He's only like, I think 11, 10, I don't know about that. I don't know specific age, but she's like, he's exploring himself, quote unquote, right now. So if he has questions, I'm here.
Yeah, his sheets might be kind of hard in the morning.
I can tell you for a fact that my mother, again, growing up in a very cliche nuclear Italian family, she did not know how to talk to me. She handed me a book. The American Girl book, How to Explore Yourself or Your Body.
I didn't get no books.
She's like,
I didn't get nothing. I didn't get no talk, no nothing. You know what my dad did though? My dad gave me $50 and dropped me off in front of Fascinations and told me, I don't know what you need to do, but I'll be back in like an hour. That was my sex talk. And there's just nothing, like I didn't get any instructional guides. And this is like, okay, 90s girls, if you were born in the 90s,
Amen,
you know what? We are fucking freaks because we watch so much porn.
That's how we
learned how to have sex.
Yes.
That's why bitches are sucking on dick like they do. Okay? It's the 90s girls because we had no guidance.
No research. It was either word of mouth. I can tell you for a fact, from my personal experience, it was fucking Degrassi. Degrassi, motherfucker.
That was my show. Me and my sister would watch that shit on Friday nights and Saturday. We would be sitting there. Shout outs because we knew Drake before Drake was Drake.
Aubrey.
You
were motherfucking Jimmy. Okay.
Wheelchair Jimmy.
Wheelchair Jimmy. Okay.
Wheelchair. And if you don't know, then you guys are missing out. But I learned all that shit too. I remember the episode where the girls were rocking the thongs and the jeans.
Manny Santos, hello, the whale tail. She literally pioneered. Oh my God, it's iconic. Just thinking about her walking into school, like,
and she had like the little low-rise jeans on. And this is going on in Canada, y'all.
Hello, yes,
this is going on in Canada. If you haven't watched that show, watch it.
Do yourself a favor. Seriously, a lot of I seriously look back at it. And I'm like, oh my God, a lot of coming of age stuff I learned from, again, television, researching porn, or asking friends at school how far they've gotten with their boyfriends or girlfriends.
Yeah. And we did the whole thing too, because my parents were pretty strict growing up as well. So it was like, I used to have my friends bring me mini skirts to school, so you changed your outfit.
Yes, in the gym locker room.
Yes, you're like, okay, let me get my little one swipe of eyeshadow on.
I'm gonna cry.
And then you start like wiping your face off and put your little corduroys back on before your mom come and gets you from school, trying to look like what you did before. So yeah, I mean, and that's like another crazy thing too, to turn out to be completely opposite of what we grew up to be. Yes. I think that made us more curious.
Honestly, that's what I'm saying. We basically not had to learn on our own, but you had to take things into your own hands. That's why I went into science as a background, simply because I've always had that proclivity to want to research stuff and learn it myself. If I was like, what were they talking about? If I didn't understand the reference on Degrassi.
Right, you're all.
And I was like, what's this about? Oh.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and I remember they had like an episode, but I feel, that's like the difference too, like between like the states and sexuality and like other countries.
Yes,
We're like the most sexually repressed. I mean, I guess there's other super religious countries kind of like, like in the Middle East, I guess, and like India and places like that where you're kind of more sexually repressed, right? Yeah. Because of religion. Yeah. But I've come to find out that those are the guys who be wanting the craziest stuff. Like those are like a lot of the guys that I have, like a lot of my clients are.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that, like that's your religion. So
right. But repression leads to like unhealthy outlets.
Yeah. Very unsexy, super unhealthy, like sexual, like tendencies, appetites and things like that. And it also becomes kind of aggressive. A lot of them are very, very, very aggressive. And that's not my favorite. It definitely depends on the client. And I'm not trying to stereotype or stigmatize and just have everyone in one bubble by any means. But yeah, like it can be rough out there. But I just remember like they talked about sexual health. They talked about like, one of the girls got this, and this, but off with Degrassi. Let's get back on track here. So your clientele, what is your clientele base? Like, you said you do footwork.
Typically, yeah.
What other aspects? Because I know with FET work, like I said, is a rabbit hole.
It is an umbrella term.
It is a very umbrella term. Yes. So what are maybe like your top 3 or top 5 things that you kind of specialize in?
Okay. So definitely foot fetishism in terms of worship, massage, just having clean feet in general. Mm-hmm. So, foot jobs too. I've recently started offering, which are really, really fun actually. So just trying to think. It's not like I'm out here again, like I haven't been asked a lot, I guess, but I recently again just gave one of my first foot jobs ever. And again, super duper fun. Just the whole experience of just being with someone who you're exploring this like, I've never really done this before. Okay, let's go ahead and, with a partner or someone that I'm on set with a production company who's like, yeah, that's okay. I'll walk you through it, or we can talk about it or something. It's awesome. So definitely foot fetishism. When I was shooting recently in Tampa, again, I just started to learn that I had fallen in love with ass smothering. Okay. So ass smothering is basically exactly as it sounds. Like you're either wearing pants or you're wearing like lingerie or something of that nature, and you're just sitting on their face or sitting on parts of their body. And again, I make sure that my clients, they are restrained in the fact that if anything happens, like I am not going to be quote unquote sexually assaulted.
Right. Ain't no tongue slips.
Exactly. There are boundaries and there are rules. There's protocols that I take for every one of my clients. They're vetted. They are referenced. I have photo IDs. I don't just session with anybody, which is what I guess I'm trying to say with the whole foot job and like everything that I'm very efficient with, so to speak.
Well, that's the best way to do it, because I always try to push the fact of safety, because you have to be safe. Because when you're doing any kind of work, you don't want to get scammed. You don't want to be lied to. Like I ask questions, even if I work with just photographers, with modeling and things like that. Anytime I travel and I work with people, I need to know questions. I need answers. I need everything. I need details, because I'm not just about to roll out here. You can tell me anything. Like if you book me for a jeans and t-shirt shoot, but you want me to come out here and do lingerie, it's like we didn't talk about that. So we're not shooting at all.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You can get mad if you want to.
Oh, that's my thing. Yeah, no, exactly. Like I laid it out plain. I laid out, again, transparently, plain and simple, everything for you to follow protocol-wise. If you can't abide by these very simple protocols that I have because it makes me feel safer during our session, I have, quote-unquote, more to risk. Because, again, it's more risk for me. I'm taking more risk. I have to account for all these things into play. So my safety is number one. It's key. I will never engage in a session. I will never engage. I will return their deposit. I will do something like that. But if I get any sort of inklings and bad vibes, luckily, again, thus far, it has never happened. I have had amazing sessions with amazing clients that I'm friends with, quote unquote, or like in a good
in a good standing, good relationship. To
this day. And because of my vetting, it's because I took such protocols, and they're like, you know what? I really appreciate the fact you made me feel just as safe as I made you feel safe in that environment. So I really appreciate the fact that, again, if I'm having sessions, so I love the ass smothering. Going back to the whole foot dynamic, there is so many outlets with foot fetishism, giantess, which is basically
so the guy that I step on, he likes that too.
Of course he does.
Apparently it's like this thing that started in Europe.
Yes.
I think it's Germany or something, and it's like they want to feel like a tiny little man.
Tiny.
Yeah, and I know you guys think that this sounds so crazy. I'm pretty sure like a lot of people are like, no, like you cannot get paid to be.
You know how many times I've had people literally been like, are you serious? Wait, you do what?
Yeah.
Like, people do. I'm like, yes, honey, you can literally, again, fetishize anything.
And here's like another real aspect to the more, let's see, the more particular the fetish is, like the tighter the community or like more niche that it is, I should say.
Yeah.
The more money that it pays.
I believe so, because again, you're offering a very specific,
very specific service, right? So don't, like, giantess, like that is something that I've only maybe run across once, and that was with the same person.
Super fucking fun. It is so much fun.
Yeah.
And to segue from giantess, so they have again, I have so many services and fetishisms that I've not only explored, but now I offer, and now I embrace in my own sexuality or...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, like,
so,
Vore. Vore is super fun. Have you ever been asked for Vore?
No, but I watch it.
So Vore, again, for all of those who aren't familiar, it kind of stems from the whole giantess.
Isn't it monsters?
So it's
tentacles. I like tentacle porn, like the anime tentacle porn.
Oh, that's cute, but I mean, I love it. But Vore basically is the fetishism or the feeling of being swallowed, eaten, chewed.
Yeah, like there's girls that get eaten by the monsters.
Yes.
Yeah. No, then I'm just more in I've watched the Vore where the girls are getting eaten by the monsters. Right, because there's like this studio in Japan. Of course, Japan got this like stuff, and they got like the real live It's not live action because it's humans, and like a human thing that you get eaten up by. But like,
it's like CGI and stuff.
I have to send you a link. It's hard to explain.
Please
I'm putting myself out here on a limb.
You know me, a curious
You guys are like, freaky bitch. I just be watching shit because like sometimes I'll be like, oh man, I don't know about this. I'll just click on it.
Girl, it's all research. Send it all.
Yes,
I'll
send it over. But basically, it's like the girls get eaten. And it's like all real slimy and stuff like that. And then they also have like the tentacles. Like the tentacles like go in all the different holes and stuff. It's like the whole nine. Yeah, nope. I haven't done Vore. I've watched it.
Super duper fun. Again, like I have a lot of my boys. They love giantess. So again, foot fetishism. Same thing. That in itself is an umbrella fetish because you can have dirty feet, you can have clean feet, you can have arched feet, you can have natural toes, polished toes, you can have, veiny feet, long toes, short toes. Like there is, again, so many different variations about what people love and appreciate and embrace about feet. Giantess is just one of the other things that I personally have loved because it's smushing, it's stomping, it's smothering. And again, the ball busting thing, it goes off that. A lot of my guys who like giantess, they like trampling, they like ball busting, they like Vore. I do, and I have a big mouth, guys. So like,
it comes from being from New York.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. That's bad. That's a distasteful joke.
But just like something that I got made fun of
was having like a really big mouth. Yeah,
a big mouth, big teeth, like just the whole like
everything's
everything.
just big. I know what you mean. I know. I know exactly what you mean.
And so, like, for me, this was very cathartic because I'd always been embarrassed about my teeth. Like, even though I had braces when I was a kid, I outgrew them. Like, my mouth, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm finally able to, as an adult, thanks to my fetish, because people embraced my mouth and embraced my imperfect teeth and my bite and everything, I was able to pay for my Invisalign braces.
See,
with
like,
fetish
that's nice.
work.
And that's really good because you're working on things that you want to pay for. And it's like, that's nice that you're able to do that.
I'm investing back in me for my fetish,
for
not
you,
only just for me, but also for the fantasy aspect.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I have had a bunch of my clients who have asked me, like, I love your teeth. Never change your teeth. Like, please, I love it. Like, God is like, just don't do anything. I'm like, all due respect, like, I really love and appreciate the fact that you love me for me, but I'm doing this for me. I want to fix my teeth for me.
Oh, no, it's like the same thing for me too. Like, there's people who say, oh, like, don't get this work done. Like, you don't need work done. It's like, okay, well, there's like things like as a woman that I feel like if I want to get that shit done, I want to get that shit done.
I'm doing it for me. Exactly.
I'm doing it for me. Like, you're my client, you're my friend, you're whatever, but like, I gotta focus on me first.
Exactly.
Like, I know it's gonna be best for me.
So I just,
and even like, the fact that you embrace your flaws, right? And then your customers, they embrace their flaws. But it is nice because you might even have a bigger clientele when you do get the bag and fix your teeth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like you don't know what that opportunity is going to bring you. That opens more doors for you.
Exactly.
Just like you said, like there's people who like ugly feet or dirty feet.
Yeah.
There's people who might really want perfectly straight, pearly white teeth. Like that just might be like their thing for them.
That's their thing, exactly. And then some people, again, like you said, they want this, they want, so a lot of my guys, they like the fact that I have kind of pointier, sharp teeth. So they're like, yes.
Like a vampire-esque type of thing.
Exactly. Even my partner says that. He's like, oh, girl, I love you for the teeth. Like, I love your sharp teeth. I'm like, see, I love that. You're embracing something that I used to be super embarrassed about.
Yeah.
And it feels super duper good to not only, again, deliver that fantasy, but feeling confident in myself while I'm doing it. It's so fucking empowering.
Oh, yeah, it is. It is. And sex work makes you, you know, here's like the thing. Dancing and like doing fat work or webcamming, you're more one-on-one aspect. Like you're not in a group setting.
Precisely,
I would say like the difference between that, like I'm pretty confident like when I do pretty much anything, right? I've learned all my confidence.
I like that.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
But like there's some nights when you work at like the club and then you say, oh, well, like I didn't make as much money, but this girl did. It's because like I don't have this. It's because she has that. So sometimes you do kind of go through like a sinking hole.
Dude, it is super easy to fall victim to that, that like, I call it negative comparisons or like unhealthy comparisons, because do I catch myself looking at other foot models on my timeline and I'm like, dude, that was a great idea. I'm super inspired by them, but I constantly have to, again, remind myself to be in a healthy mindset, to be like, these women aren't my competition. They're inspiring me. These women, that was a great fucking post. Oh shit, I love the way she did her makeup. I'm gonna, okay.
You're like, try that. I want to do that. I want to do that. Yeah.
Not to like, again, wave bite, not to take or literally mimic or copy what they're doing, but that's what I think is going to make you, again, a successful and well-rounded person, not only as a model to other models, but model to other photographers, model to clients, is because you're accessible. You can adapt. You're okay and comfortable with knowing that, hey, maybe she has a bigger following than me, but one day maybe I will get to that pinnacle. This motivates me to work
to get
harder.
to that point. Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely. So I think we're going to kind of end our show with girls who want to get into this, or people who are like you, who just didn't even know. They kind of just popped up on on a date, and this guy was like, bitch, let me see them feet. So just like anything, like, so what is like your guide for girls who are looking to do this kind of work? I know safety is priority.
Absolutely.
And then what are like some of your basic protocols and things like that? So I guess we'll just start with what websites are safe for girls to use and kind of how to maneuver through it, and then kind of figuring out what they do and don't like.
Okay.
Or what they're comfortable with. Right.
So, the verified sites that I can attest to, again, I've only been in the fetish and the modeling community for a little over a year now. Mm-hmm. But in my very brief but short experience, I have become very comfortable with Instagram, like social media platforms that are verified. So like Instagram, Twitter, Reddit is a very, very popular social media source for other people exploring sex work. FetLife, if you're not familiar, it's kind of like a Facebook, but for fetishism, BDSM world kink. I like it because, again, it's any and all social media. It just gives them another way to potentially contact you, or for exposure, or for networking. So those are some safe sites. I am only on OnlyFans, so I'm very much a newbie when it comes to paid sites right now. Right. I am hopefully planning to open up a Clips store, an AVN, and potentially my own website domain by the end of the year. So I have goals just as much as anybody else does. You got goals,
girl. Get that money.
Exactly.
Get that money. So yes, you guys heard those sites. I've heard of a couple of my friends that use AVN. I've heard Clips for Sale. And of course, I think the best way, if you're able to, even myself included, is having your own website.
Absolutely.
That is like your number one. That's always like the end goal. You're all like, you don't want to keep giving out percentages to these companies, right? Precisely. You're like, I need my bread. I can pay. It's okay if I pay for my website. It's okay if I pay that. Precisely. Those whatever taxes. But like, that's cool. I don't want to have to pay. I don't want to have to like 80-20 nobody or 60-40 somebody.
Yeah.
Like,
so your own small business. Like, why would you want to continue to give over hard-earned money that you've done? Again, networking, marketing, makeup artists, like lighting's crew, PR. Like, you do so much as a fetish model. So that's another piece of advice that I can give to models who are just now getting started. Be prepared to do the work, hunty. Okay?
Yes.
It is not a walk in the park. Don't get me wrong. It's a little bit easier for some people because, again, they have a likable personality, or they're just obscenely, flawlessly gorgeous, or just something about them, or their feet, something about them makes them very unique. But that can only take you so far from what I noticed. So if you want longevity in this community, And this is something that I need imperatively to say, take it seriously. Have some fun.
Right.
But this is also a job. You know what I'm saying? Take it seriously in a sense where you're taking yourself seriously. Invest in yourself. Have a goal, dude. Like, I can't stress that enough, is that, like, it's not for the faint of heart, like you were saying earlier.
It is not for the faint of heart. Like, if you go in and you just think that you're just going to sit there and, like you said, be cute.
Oh, yeah. Like, I'm so cute. Again, like, my toes are, like, this. And again, I'm really not trying to pass judgment. I'm just trying to give you the harsh reality of what other people are going to... You are on social media. Other people are going to be judging you. It is what it is.
Yeah.
We live in that type of society, too, that you just...
it is what it is. And so like, you do got to put in work. And it's not just like, I'm going to hop on here for an hour or 30 minutes and I'm about to get all this. No, it's not. It's about, you got to put in the time, the effort, and consistency. If you're not consistent, people are not, they have no interest. That is with modeling. That is with any sort of sex work that you do. That's just with anything. Like, if you're not consistent, and particularly with sex work, they lose interest real quick.
Yes, they do.
Because there are hundreds of thousands of millions of women out there
who are clawing just for an opportunity at that spot that you had an opportunity at, but you maybe squandered it or you didn't take it as serious.
Right. And that's like a very real thing. Like, if you don't do that, then it's, it's game over. And then lastly, what are your safety tips? Like, what are your protocols that you, like,
Very smart.
Yes.
Safety tips is, personally, I always like to have a taser or some sort of, like, if we're just talking about nitty gritty stuff in general, you as a female, anybody living, if you live by yourself, if you live with your friends, anything, always have some sort of, like, knowledge of how to protect yourself, whether that be self-defense classes, whether that be going to the gun range and getting acclimated with being comfortable with even holding a firearm. I personally have a taser. I personally now go to a gun range. If you
we coming in hot. Same. I got knives. I got guns. I've got tasers, and I always have something in my purse. If not one, then two. And if it's not in the purse, it's in the glove department. Exactly. If it's not in the glove department, it's next to my bed. So come for me, bro.
Right. It's just like that's.
And I got a cat. I guess my cat is protection.
Not
too.
trying to like scare anybody, but I guess I would rather be more safe than sorry. So I would rather have the knowledge to be like, I can protect myself.
Yeah. Don't be like paranoid, but definitely be cautious of your surroundings, because you're dealing with grown ass men and like, you don't know, like, someone can say that it is just me and I'm here by myself or whatever, and then you pull up to a location, and that's with anything, whether you're going on a date with a guy that you met off the internet, like, or just like cooking with you don't know, like, if you're going to Starbucks, that's cool, but if you're going to go work and meet up with somebody, you don't know what environment you're walking into.
If I have learned anything from any of those true crime podcasts that I've been listening to lately, it's that you never really know anybody, okay? Like, and I say that again, I'm not trying to make anyone paranoid, but I say that being like, I'm still okay, and this is probably the reason why, because I was prepared and I was very proactive with my, being my self-awareness, basically. So again, I don't want this to hinder anyone from participating in sessions, but for the first 8 months out of, like, again, the time that I've been here, I did not offer sessions. I was like, for my personal safety, not just because of COVID, but also for my personal safety.
You can't just so you just can't roll up into people's houses or have people roll up into your house or a hotel or wherever you guys meet up at.
Yes.
You just can't do that and then expect that it's going to be okay. And then, you know what I mean?
And then, God forbid, again, anything does happen, you're like, so again, I can sit here and tell you all the standard safety precautions. Like, again, always take photo ID is something that I've learned to do. Always have at least 2 or 3 references from models. Do not go ahead and engage in the deposit or any of the sessions until you actually get those references from models. And again, I can sit here and tell you all these safety and standard precautions that I've been luckily enough privy to and smart enough to implement whenever I'm trying to book somebody. But again, you never know.
You never know.
So I just
do your work.
Exactly.
And if you guys catch a vibe, like, if your gut feeling tells you something is wrong, go with your gut.
Literally, please
listen
to
your
intuition.
And it's all about the vibe. Like, your vibe is your number one key right there. And with that being said, Goddess, where can people find you? If they, whether it's a client, hopefully more clients, or girls who are just like looking to get into this work, where can we find you at?
So I am accessible through many different websites. I, of course, have an Instagram. It's goddess_Fina. And I also have a Twitter. It is Lanina Serafina, LANINASARAFINA.
Yes.
All one word. And then lastly, I do have a lovely steezy little OnlyFans account that, again, it's just goddess_Fina. So if you guys are interested in any of my links, I offer customs, I offer pre-mades, Skype session, in-person session, worn items, I offer meet and greets, I offer just, again, a plethora of different services. I have an entire menu if someone is interested about potentially booking me for an in-person session or custom. So
perfect. And I will have all of your links attached to this podcast. It is always wonderful. I'm so glad. We're like reunited and we're like almost in our final form.
Yeah.
We were in, like, when I tell you guys, we were just little waitresses at a little Greek restaurant in North Carolina, and we both ended up back in Denver.
Couple of sex kittens, just working in a restaurant.
Just waiting to go from kittens to lioness real quick.
That's right, baby. That's a beautiful way to describe it. We were just waiting to break out of our shells.
Oh, we were. And we broke out. We broke out hard. There's no taming this back. Yes. Well, as always, it is a pleasure to have you.
It's been so lovely being on it. Thank you so much for inviting me.
And then we will definitely have to have you back soon.
Oh, I hope so.
Yes.
I hope so.
And for everyone, thank you for joining us again today. You guys can find me on Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter, all under hustlebunny_podcast. And we will see you guys next time. Until then, stay hustling, my baby bunnies. Bye.
Bye, guys.